Another human case of bird flu has been confirmed, this time in California. This coming after Governor Gavin Newsom issued a state of emergency because of a bird flu virus outbreak at several farms raising dairy cows. The CDC says so far this year, 61 people have been infected. 505 dairy herds in 15 states have gotten the bird flu. This number will grow after those new infections in California. And they add more than 25 million birds have been infected. Joining me now is Dr. Frita Fisher, board certified nephrology and internal medicine. Dr. Frita, good morning and Merry Christmas.
Good morning. Same to you.
So good to see you. Dr. Frita, we knew that the minute this warning came out of this alert, we needed to talk to you about it. How concerned should we be with the growing number of bird flu cases?
Well, right now, we should not be extremely concerned, but we definitely need to be cautious because we all know and we've all lived through the pandemic and we've had warnings before that it only starts with one, right? Right now we have one severe case. We have another human case that's a sick person in LA County. And with the bird flu, we first discovered it back in 1996 in China among wild geese. And there was approximately a 50% mortality once it started spreading. And so we should be worried enough to at least do the research to have vaccines in place and possible treatment. And with that, there's a certain type of research we may need to go ahead and do.
Dr. Frita, not to sound the alarm, but are we on the cusp of a pandemic?
I don't think we're on the cusp of a pandemic, but we definitely need to be cautious. We know that the bird flu right now, it's found in wild birds, but it can certainly be spread to poultry. So we've seen it in geese, we've seen it in chickens, we've seen it in cattle. It's definitely in milk, unpasteurized milk. And now that we know that humans can get it, even though there has not been a human-to-human spread as of yet, we know that these viruses can mutate. And so we just need to stay ahead of things. So we don't need to panic, but we do need to be cautious.
And before the break, I said something about how there are things that the federal government should be doing. What should the federal government be doing to help stop the spread of the virus?
Well, one thing that we can do is go ahead and have the research in place so that we get vaccines in place, so that we do targeted research to know that if there's a mutation and if it does start to have the potential to spread from human to human, instead of getting behind the game where we get many humans infected, we need to go ahead and be preemptive. So we need to be doing the research and possibly gain of function research, which is something that was quite controversial because that's what was done during the time of COVID in the Wuhan virology lab. And so understandably, many people in the government are careful and they're concerned because they don't want us to create a virus that's very infectious, but we still do need to stay ahead of the game instead of sitting back and waiting.
And Dr. Frita, I have less than a minute left, but what should people at home be doing? Because the CDC reported a severe human case of bird flu this month. Is there a possibility of the bird flu evolving enough to spread from person to person? People at home need to do what?
Yes, so there's absolutely a possibility of it evolving, but we're not there yet. In the meanwhile, we need to make sure that we're not drinking raw milk. Okay, just drink pasteurized milk because that's found to be safe. Make sure that if you're around birds that you use proper equipment, especially if you are a poultry worker. And if you have children, if you have dogs who are hanging out in the backyard, make sure they're not hanging around dead birds or potentially infected birds. We need a lot of hand washing and just to pay attention.
Dr. Frita, thank you so much for joining me this morning. The perfect Christmas gift.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.